So this is the example. For this one, you can see that this is the example of the case 2 that we use it to prepare data flow diagram. When we have this one, the data flow diagram, when you enter all of the detailed information, you can generate the code, you can generate the database table as well. So in this one, I'm going to talk about the system development method a bit before we move on into details. For the system development method, there are a couple of techniques or methods that we use. One of the most popular system development method is what we call structured analysis. Structured analysis. For the structured analysis, we analyze everything as a cycle. We have everything as a cycle. We run all the activity as a cycle. We call it as SDLC or System Development Life Cycle. This kind of method we do everything step by step as a cycle. And when we reach the last step of the cycle and we want to have the further version of the software, we start the next cycle. That's why we call it as development life cycle. This kind of structure analysis is predictive approach because you know that what will happen next. We have to use a set of process models to describe a system graphically. For example, in here, if you have a look into this diagram, this diagram is data flow diagram. For example, in here, it said that to register student, you need to have the information from student, from course to process in the registry to process in order to register students, and then the output of this process is registration data that will be stored in the class roster as the output. So this is the graphical display for the process that you have in the information system. And this kind of method is the process center technique because we always begin with the process like this first, and then we try to find input and try to show the output. And this one is what we call the structure analysis here is waterfall model. From we call it as bottom down. Bottom down. Yeah. Okay. From top to bottom. So that's why we call it as waterfall model. I'll show you in the detail when we reach the structure analysis part. After that, for the structured analysis, the output, we have we may have the terms that is called deliverable or end product. Deliverable or end product. It will be the information system that we install for our users to use. But by the way, every coin has two sides. Has two sides. So this advantage in the built-in structure of the SDLC. So in this one, when you use SDLC, the waterfall model does not emphasize interactivity among phases. That means when you finish that phase, you jump to another phase straight away. You don't see any interactivity at all. So that's why some of the system analysts may want to use some another kind of development method instead. But for me myself, I am the structure analysis people. That means when I just finish one phase, I cut off that phase and then I go to another phase immediately. Manit has a question. Is this an example of case software? You mean the previous slide, I guess. Yes, Visible Analyst is one of the example of case software. This one, yeah, the name is Visible Analyst. There are so many case software, case or case 2. Okay, so and we said that this criticism for the interactivity among phases can be valid if SDLC phases are followed too rigidly. Adjacent phases usually interact. For example, analysis and design. when you analyze นะครับ the output from analysis will be used for designing, and when designing has some problem we go back to the analysis. So that's why these two adjacent phases they interact นะครับ but if we move on to the next phase that is implementation already นะครับ it might not related to analysis anymore นะครับ okay we talk about in detail next. The next one นะครับ SDLC System Development Life Cycle usually consists of 5 steps นะครับ starting with planning นะครับ analysis design implementation นะครับ system support and security นะครับ these are 5 steps or 5 phases you have to do in the waterfall model. That means you always start with planning first, then go to analysis, go to design. You cannot jump นะครับ you cannot jump or skip. For example, if you plan นะครับ if you just finish planning, you cannot start design straight away. You have to analyze first นะครับ. And after that, when we finish phase 5, that is system support and security already, if you would like to have like the revised version of the software, you have to go back to first phase again, that is system planning นะครับ for system planning นะครับ let's talk about the details. For system planning, we begin with system requests นะครับ the system requests come from the user นะครับ or the executive of the company who need to have the information system. Begins the process and describe problems or desired changes. They will tell you what's going on with their current status. For example, suppose I say that okay, let me just give you an example. In MUIC นะครับ before you came here quite long time ago, in each computer lab we had printers inside the computer lab. What's going on? At that time it was network printer as well นะครับ connect to the LAN system. At that time each room นะครับ needed to have the printers inside. So that means if some student had to go had an assignment to submit and all the rooms are occupied. For example, we are teaching, we are having class inside the room. The students who would like to print out, they just like open the door นะครับ to interrupt the lecture and said, อาจารย์ครับ I'm sorry, can I use the computer in the back of the room to print out my work because today I have to submit the work. You can see that it interrupt the lecture a lot. And the printer, actually the sound of the printer is not quiet นะครับ at that time. That means once I'm giving you the lecture and also the students are studying, they couldn't concentrate on what I taught because of the noise of the printer. Apart from that one, we lost a lot of papers because we just put the paper next to the printer. We didn't have the quota. There are so many used paper scattered around the floor and on the shelf behind the room. So this is system request. Lots of instructors complain that they don't want the printer inside the room. When the printer is moved out, anyway, you need to have a computer to send the print out to the printer as well. So that means right now you can see that we have like we can just like use some the lounge นะครับ student lounge to print out the work as well, or you have a kiosk that students can print out the work and then the printout goes to the printer. Apart from that one, number of papers, the scrap paper or just like waste paper used, then we have the quota for the students. This is the system request as well. So we have to find out the system that support this kind of thing. Or for me, if I print the work, normally I print from my office and then I go to the classroom or the computer lab. But sometimes I forgot, I forgot to print on something. For example, if I have like the seat chart and I want to have the seat chart at that time, and then I want to print it out because I have to tick to check the attendance. The problem is that in the past, I had to walk back to my office to print and get the printout. But now you can see that, okay, if I print through the wireless I can just go to grab my printout at the printer outside the computer lab as well. This is the system request. We desire the changes not to have the printer store in the computer lab anymore, but we want it to be outside. Okay, purpose of this phase is to perform a preliminary investigation to see that whether it really works or not if we solve the problem. For example, if I say that, okay, I want some money. Okay, sorry. For example, I want some cash, but the ATM machine is located on the first floor. But normally, I am always on fifth floor of our building. You can see that in this one, this is my problem, right? This is my desired change. I want an ATM machine, but they said that no, it's the problem because we don't want the outsiders to come on the fifth floor, so they don't allow to set up the ATM machine on the fifth floor. So you can see that this is a preliminary investigation. There will be the loophole for MUIC because the properties of MUIC might be stolen, or students properties might be stolen as well. Justin said, wait, can we print to the Kyocera from our personal device? Kyocera, the print queue system, depends on the setting. I'm not sure because I think you have to set up the driver in your computer, and then also the IT has to program something to allow your account to print to Kyocera. Not everyone can print, as far as I know. Because they have just like one queue for or one separate server for staff and instructor. So that's why it's different I guess. Even though I tried to plug in my computer to the LAN, but I couldn't print as well. They just program just only for the wireless for the staff machine to print out, not for student, I guess. I'm not sure. You have to ask the IT people. And key part of the preliminary investigation is feasibility study. Feasibility study. That means it's possible or not to implement that kind of solution. The structure analysis, the next phase is system analysis. For the system analysis, the deliverable of this phase is system requirements documents. Normally, we have to prepare the system requirement document that, okay, for the proposed system, what do we want the system to solve, and how do we gonna solve the system? After that, we have system design. System design phase, the deliverable of this phase is system design spec. How do we gonna design the system to be? And management and user involvement is critical. This one is really important because when you design some system, as you are system analyst or system designer, you need the management and users to participate and see your design as well. If you don't allow them to see and you just like continuing design the system until you finish and then you send it to programmers, if the management and users reject what you design, you waste the time because you have to come back to design again. So one good thing is that for system design, some kind of the system designers or some kind of project, when they finish designing a small part or small function, they let the management or the users to see and confirm นะครับ for that functionality whether it's okay or not, do we need any adjustment or not นะครับ if they are okay then you just like realize the style of like that kind of system already. Then you when you have to design the next function, you know already that okay, when you design this kind of thing they should be okay or not okay นะครับ okay, right. The next one for the system implementation นะครับ in this phase the new system is constructed ครับ you just code the program according to the design นะครับ when you work in the team programmer normally do not program by using your own intuition นะครับ you have to use the design spec from the previous phase. All the variable names, all the methods, all the functions that you use in the program must follow the design phase นะครับ so that's why the system designer sometimes they are the same person as programmers, but for the big system it's impossible for the system designer and programmers to be the same person. We work as a team. For example, if your team has like let's say 10 people นะครับ you may have like 3 people who work as system designer. This system designer normally they should work as a programmer before, otherwise they don't know what kind of program or how do you gonna program this kind of thing, which kind or which point that you should like design, because it might make like the programmers to be confused นะครับ something like that. Okay, and in this phase the new system is constructed. After that the next phase นะครับ the last phase is system support and security นะครับ when the system is constructed already the well-designed system must be secure, reliable, maintainable and scalable. Most of the information system need to be updated significantly or replaced after several years of operation. So because they might have like some more requirements or when the technology is changed they need to have the updated. And then there comes to the next cycle that we start with planning, analysis, design, implementation and support and security once again นะครับ okay, so this one นะครับ for example in here they say that when we talk about this one you can see that when we want to have like the interaction among different information here นะครับ sometimes when we use the structured analysis and design method it might not work. In this one we may have to use object oriented to help instead. So object oriented analysis นะครับ in terms of object oriented analysis a message requests specific behavior or information from another object. Then you have to think about the objects that that will be interrelated in the system นะครับ usually follow series of analysis and design phase that are similar to SDLC นะครับ but in this kind of thing is interactive model because each object is related to another object นะครับ we will talk about in detail when we reach the part of object oriented analysis and design นะครับ the next one is agile methods นะครับ agile method is a kind of like system development method as well. This is the newest development method นะครับ it emphasizes continuous feedback นะครับ and for agile methods it is iterative development นะครับ so you start from the small one นะครับ and then you just like do it repeatedly until you get the final output. Agile community has published the Agile manifesto that we can search from the internet as well, and it's a spiral model นะครับ in here. So Agile process นะครับ will determine the end result นะครับ will determine the end result, and there will be the next cycle and next cycle more and more until you get the final output. Other adaptive variation and related methods exist นะครับ. There are 2 examples of the agile methods that are Scrum นะครับ and extreme programming นะครับ. For agile methods นะครับ the system analyst should understand pros and cons of any approach before you start using it นะครับ because actually we need to have a lot of interaction among different people in the team นะครับ when we use agile methods and different people in the team means it includes management and also the users นะครับ who are going to use this system as well while we have like three major system development methods นะครับ that are SDLC นะครับ or structured นะครับ object oriented and agile we also have like other development methods as well but it depends on the environment and it depends on the organization that they would like to use because some of the organization or some of the consulting company they develop their own development method and name it as like what they like for example JAD or joint application development นะครับ rapid application development นะครับ it might encounter other system development techniques นะครับ and we have rational unified process or RUP Microsoft Solution Framework or MSF นะครับ these are like different development methods that each company may use differently นะครับ but for the standard one there are three things that I told you before structured or SDLC นะครับ object oriented and agile นะครับ the next one for the system development guidelines นะครับ the first one we have to develop a project plan first นะครับ that means also the schedule you have to set it up as well นะครับ it's the same when we have any projects we need to have project plan and project schedule นะครับ including your senior project as well นะครับ the system development will involve users นะครับ you have to involve them into the development นะครับ and listen carefully to them นะครับ some team do not want to involve the user because they say that okay we speak in different language if we are talking about like programming language they may not understand what we are trying to talk but don't forget that the users will be the one who accept or to reject the system then you have to involve them into the development team and also you have to listen to them carefully as well what they want whether the thing that you develop is what they want or not นะครับ and then you should use project management tools to identify tasks and milestones นะครับ my suggestion one good example is Microsoft project นะครับ I usually use it and it's very good because I can identify all the resources that I have time that I have to use นะครับ people that will involve in each task as well นะครับ and the milestones นะครับ and also the develop accurate cost and benefit information นะครับ you have to develop accurate cost and benefit information for the management so that they can make a decision whether they would like to use or to develop this system or not. Sometimes if they would like you to develop a system but it's too expensive นะครับ they may reject the whole system นะครับ or sometimes if it just like spend too much time to finish this project for example if we said that the small project normally it just take around like a couple of months only but when you say that okay because we have to analyze this develop that it takes around 2 years it's too long ครับ because at that time they may just change their business model already ครับ and it must be flexible นะครับ remain flexible after that we talk about the IT department นะครับ in the organization so these are like the things that normally when we have the IT department in the organization these are like the roles of people that we need to have นะครับ so the top one of the department is IT director นะครับ or right now we might call them as CTO นะครับ Chief Technology Officer something like that นะครับ is the head from time to time the name of the position is changed นะครับ in the past นะครับ long time ago when we had the computer at the very first time we call those the top of the IT department as we call them as EDP manager นะครับ if you see anyone with the role or with the position called EDP manager, you know that okay, these people should be in generation of the age of 60-70 นะครับ years old for sure. EDP manager stand for electronic data processing manager นะครับ long time ago we don't use this word anymore. When the time goes by it was IT manager, IT director นะครับ and then in here it said director information technology and right now it is CTO นะครับ CTO is the current words that people use, chief technological officer or chief technology officer นะครับ okay, under director of IT we need to have the roles of application development, system support and security นะครับ user support, database admin, network admin, web support and QA นะครับ or quality assurance นะครับ these are the roles in each IT department. But if you go to see organization chart of the IT department of the real company, they may not have like some block that I just like show you in this one นะครับ this is the ideal that every company or every IT department should have, because some company นะครับ they may put quality assurance นะครับ as a task of the application development นะครับ because when the programmer develop the apps they have to do the quality assurance as their own task as well นะครับ so it depends on the company นะครับ next one, when we talk about system analysts นะครับ when you go to work in a company normally they call them as SA นะครับ SA or system analyst. This person นะครับ has the responsibility like this. They have to translate business requirements into IT project or into IT language, because some of the business requirements นะครับ for example the easiest one that we don't understand much is accounting นะครับ the system analyst who is responsible for the system that is related to accounting must be able to translate the meaning of accounting to the IT terms that developer can code a program to solve that problem. For example, if the user said that okay, I want to write down that when the customer purchase a product from us you have to debit this นะครับ and credit the inventory. So if I just type this message and tell my developer, they don't understand what it means. I may say that okay, you get the input นะครับ from the screen as the variable a first, and for variable a just add a record into database table A นะครับ with the amount A and the description. After that put the negative symbol for variable A นะครับ store in table B นะครับ with the date and the description, something like that. Then for developers they understand what it means. So the system analyst is the person who translates business requirement to IT project. Next, knowledge, skills and education. System analyst needs technical knowledge, strong oral and written communication skills and analytic ability, and understanding of business operations and critical thinking skills นะครับ so these are the need for the system analyst qualification นะครับ so certification depends on the software that you use. Some of the software need to have the important credential or certification as well. For example, for SAP, if you would like to be the system analyst or the consultant for SAP or for a specific module, for example, if you would like to consult for the team to develop a system นะครับ to be used for the company for the sales module, you need to take the certification for sales module of SAP first นะครับ so that you understand what you have to do. The next one, in terms of career opportunity นะครับ in terms of career opportunity we what to say there are like many job titles นะครับ that we have นะครับ for example some company call the system analyst as system analyst somebody if or some company they may call you as programmer but you have to work as both system analysts and programmers some company call system analysts as consultant นะครับ so it depends um, next is company organization that is the one you have to think about company size somebody prefer to work with a small company นะครับ because you have to work นะครับ everything you understand and then you will learn everything from that company while some people say that they want to work with just like large company because they want to have the job security นะครับ but you have to know that if you work with a large company นะครับ the responsible might be just like for a small for a small module only you will not learn everything from that company because it's too large นะครับ depends on what you want the corporate culture as well if you work for government office or you work for the private company it might be different นะครับ for the culture salary location and future growth so these are the things that you have to consider as well นะครับ so these are the things that you have to know about like the basic things an introduction to the interaction design in order to let you analyze and design the information systems นะครับ that will take place in the future นะครับ okay that should be all for module number 1 นะครับ up to this point do you have any questions ครับ anyone okay right if you don't have any questions นะครับ now I just like want you to work with your group นะครับ I have a small case นะครับ just a warm up case for you first นะครับ just a warm up case for you first but in the assignments นะครับ the homework it is just like the bigger case this is your group นะครับ and also the case that you will receive case 1 and case 2 นะครับ so in this one นะครับ in this one I will let you to spend around 10 minutes นะครับ around 10 minutes to think about the answer for the case because it's small case 10 minutes should be okay for you and after that นะครับ and after that I will random นะครับ the group นะครับ for each case นะครับ to present นะครับ so we have altogether 10 groups so I will random 2 groups from each case นะครับ 2 group who is responsible for case 1 2 group who is responsible for case 2 นะครับ in here okay right so let's see what's the case that you have to do นะครับ alright okay in here นะครับ okay let's see what we have to do so for case 1 นะครับ and case 2 what do I want you to do okay this is case 1 นะครับ case 1 is about global hotels and Mama's motel นะครับ so just read the case and I want your recommendation what do you think try to use the ideas of like yourself assume that you are system analysts and you are com science people how can you recommend them นะครับ for this situation and why please record your answer นะครับ maybe on Microsoft Word or Google Doc นะครับ or PowerPoint because when we come back นะครับ from the discussion I would like you to present นะครับ on the screen นะครับ just a short one Microsoft Word is fine for me for case 2 is similar นะครับ you have to suggest Lisa what should she do นะครับ for working with the company นะครับ okay I will let you do spend around 10 minutes นะครับ to discuss and find out the recommendations นะครับ for these two cases and then I will random your team นะครับ to present นะครับ in front in the Zoom session นะครับ okay so okay let me just have a look so everyone นะครับ you just like discuss with your team with together I'll try to just like set up the what to say the breakout room for you นะครับ okay but you start reading first นะครับ while I'm just like assigning you to the room นะครับ Thomas hang on EQ what is your first name ครับ EQ is EQ here okay right now the room is open นะครับ I'll let you spend around 10 minutes in order to discuss with your team นะครับ and write out the answer นะครับ around 1:40 I'll call you back นะครับ everyone on the next class นะครับ we are going to have the random presentation นะครับ as I told you for each case นะครับ two team for each case นะครับ but for the rest of you don't worry I'll let you submit it to me นะครับ I'll just like check it by myself but we just like let two teams for each case to present นะครับ so that means there will be 4 teams to present on next class and also นะครับwe are going to do another activity นะครับ let me just show you the next activity that you have to do for the and submit it to me on the next before the next class is here it's team discussion number 1 นะครับ case study based on smart grid in this case นะครับ every team has to do the same thing นะครับ you download this case นะครับ you download this case okay and then you just like do the following things the first one you summarize the case next one you answer the case study question number 1 to number 5 นะครับ so that means it will be presented on the next class as well after the short the small case 1 and case 2 is presented นะครับ I will ask you to present นะครับ I will ask the team who hasn't present on case 1 and case 2 to present on the case study of this module นะครับ so the presentation on each นะครับ on each team for each team for the case นะครับ should be around like 4 to 5 minutes นะครับ not more than that นะครับ for the submission just one person per one team submit is enough นะครับ because right now I prepare the group for you on Canvas already นะครับ so when one person submit นะครับ then I know that which team is submitting นะครับ okay so for the case study number 1 นะครับ submit it to me by next Monday before the class start นะครับ so but I mean like normally when you finish you better submit it to me straight away so that you not forget about it นะครับ and if นะครับ your team when you have to submit you can just like prepare it in Microsoft Word and then you just like save it as a PDF and send it to me นะครับ so in case that you have just like if you have 3 people but just 2 of you work in this case study you just write down like the name of 2 people only you don't need to write the one who don't work on this case นะครับ okay right okay then นะครับ up to this point do you have any questions right if you don't have any question before we finish the class นะครับ everyone please turn on your camera okay so next class I will just like prepare the Zoom breakout room before we come to the class so that you can just like join the team quicker นะครับ normally if we have the presentation before we have presentation I might send you to the breakout room for a couple of minutes in order to discuss with your team and prepare the queue first นะครับ before we really presenting Supachok and Vichapat ครับ please turn on your camera ครับ oh Vichapat no problem I know that you are here I capture already and I see your message นะครับ Supachok are you here Supachok ครับ I think he may just like leave already นะครับ he might be so hungry today okay then everyone นะครับ you have a nice day take care and stay safe นะครับ my students and see you on next Monday. Bye bye for now. Bye bye. Take care. Bye. See you on next Monday ครับ
thank you ครับ
You're welcome.
thank you ครับ
You're welcome. Daniel, can be any software ครับ can be Google Drive sorry can be Google Doc and then you send it as PDF up to you นะครับ I don't limit number of pages but it shouldn't be short just like one paragraph is too short.
โอเคครับ thank you ครับ
You're welcome.
อาจารย์ครับ is there any submission on the case 1 and case 2
Not yet ครับ I'll open it on next class.
okay ครับ thank you
Yeah so that you can have time for discussion นะครับ
okay
Okay
ครับ thank you ครับ
You're welcome ครับ Rinradi ครับ oh it's not about this course. Yes sure I'll do it tonight ครับ Okay bye bye everyone see you on next Monday ครับ